All right, we're here with Cameron Drummond and Glenn Brown. They're two of the principals in uh, playforsheets.com, a new venture that they put out. Tell us a little bit about it, guys. Like, where did the idea come from?
Uh, well, we're both teachers, almost full-time teachers, and the amount of time that we spend kind of critiquing the whole time people's performances and stuff, I find that it's sometimes good to have someone else listen to a pupil of mine or my performances as well. There's a lot of people out there, top players, that'll send recordings to friends of theirs, other top players, etc. They're still getting lessons, or still getting taught, and it's a sort of different thing. You send a performance away to get someone to give you a few pointers, and really there was a bit of a gap there. We're not trying to do the kind of online lesson thing. I think that space is saturated and done really, really well by quite a lot of people, and but in terms of that kind of sharp feedback, the competition setting is where you get that. You get information back and you do what you want with it. You take it back to your teacher, you go and practice hard, and then you go back to the next one. But I think Play for Sheets is the idea that you would work that into your competition prep or your performance prep, and you're able to have an expert listen to your performance ahead of time, that isn't trying to teach you what to do, that doesn't know you're playing specifically, that's used to how you play and what you should play like, and then give you that direct feedback ahead of time so you can kind of do what you want with that information.
Right. So Glenn, maybe you can talk a little bit about you launched actually a couple of days ago, I guess. How's the response been so far?
Well, I think there's been several signups in terms of the solo feedback, and then there's an added option of band as well. I think there's a couple bands who've noted interest in that, so I think it's a good thing. And just kind of going off of what Cami said there, Cami sent me a message about a month ago and said, I've got this idea. What do you think? And he had already kind of done up the website, and I looked through it and I said, yeah, it looks really good. And currently with what's going on in the world, with the online competitions, I've got several students that are competing in these online competitions. And what I have said to them before they upload their recordings is send it to me so I can hear the recording, so I can give, a little bit of critique before you upload it. Like maybe it's good, maybe you can do better. And so I thought that it tied in great with what was going on and what Cami was kind of planning and the idea. And again, as Cami says there, it's looking for an outlet of someone who's going to give you sharp critique. We're current with what we're doing, and we know, I think, what judges are looking for. So that's the idea of it is we're not, it's not judging. We're kind of giving you critique on what judges might be looking for and kind of trying to steer you in the right direction. So I think it's hopefully going to be a good thing,
Yeah.
And we're not. It's not like we're judging our pupils or anything like that. It's kind of veering a little bit away from that, where we're trying to kind of correct that and go, we can give you a critique before, this kind of comes into play. So,
So tell us how it works. Like, what would someone do if they wanted to take advantage of it, whether they're a drummer or a piper or a pipe band?
So it started off as piping. So the thing I sent to Glenn was just about piping, with the thought that it might expand, but starting off small. Does the idea work? And Glenn was pretty upbeat about it, so managed to convince him to kind of join the panel, and then naturally we started thinking about drumming, and then that kind of expands into pipe bands. We're trying to get that set up as well. Basically, if you go and look at the site, you have a little bit of blurb will tell you, give you a few reasons. People might not think that they need that service, but if you have a little read of it, it does kind of plug a few holes in your competition prep, and basically you can pick from 3 different options. So option 1 is just the blunt instrument of a critique. So the recording comes in, it's listened to, the sheet is written live, either handwritten then typed up or typed up live. A kind of sheet that we've made up ourselves, taking aspects from all good crit sheets, basically. 48-hour kind of turnaround and sent back. And then the next option is to have that critique, that live listen, and then the critic will go into a little bit more in depth, having another listen back. The chance that a judge doesn't get on the competition day to actually listen back and say, well, was that right? Or, did I miss something? So you get a listen back, and then for every kind of negative or positive, there'll be a little suggestion of where you could go with that, what could be improved, even a suggestion of an exercise you might want to try to rectify something. And then the next level up from that is a face-to-face, which is basically your advanced critique. You'll still get your critique, but then the idea is that you can engage with the judge face-to-face and give your side of the story kind of thing. And if you want to say, oh, you said this about this, but this is where I got it from, blah, 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 you've got that chance to talk about the setting. And it's it's something that might happen in a beer tent. After a couple of beers, you might approach the judge and say, hey, you told me that this was a mistake, but actually it's not. That happens, whether judges like it or don't like it, whether players do it or don't, it happens. I'm a guy that doesn't do it, but inside sometimes has the burning question about, when you get crit or you get some sort of feedback, like you want to justify yourself. You've got that opportunity.
Yeah.
So you pick, you go down to the bottom, fill in a form. You get an automatic email back that tells you how to upload, and you can do that in several different ways. The way we're set up at the moment with online engagement and things like that, people know what they're doing with recordings. You can just send an audio recording though as well to the email address. You can send a YouTube link, etc., etc. Once that recording comes in, and I've checked that it actually works. Because we all have technical issues, check that it works, then the person is basically invoiced and the crit goes to, the recording goes to the critic. They'll sit down, that's the 48 hours kind of turnaround timer started, and then I'll get emailed back in PDF form, however they want to take it.
You've got a couple of pretty good drummers working with you as well, Stephen McWhorter and Blair Brown as well. How did they get involved?
Well, it's like there's a couple of people I'll bounce ideas off, and tunes as well. Like I've been messaging Glenn over the winter about my pipes and stuff, making improvements to the pipes, and I'll bounce stuff off Stephen as well. So obviously I wanted to have his sort of opinion on things, but also hoping that if he liked the idea, he was gonna, so we had the chat asking what he thought of the idea and stuff, and it was all kind of positive, and then it kind of ended up with the kind of, so, would you be up for that? And
it works out that I've got two brothers, but one at the moment that's I shot the idea over, and he was like, yeah, I'd love to get on board. And I mean, again, current players that know what judges are going to be looking for, and our teachers as well that will be hands-on and able to kind of analyze and pinpoint things, on the spot.
Yeah. So both of you are involved in obviously active solo competition. When things get back to normal, do you see some of these things that are happening, including playforsheets.com, being transferred over? Is it going to be like a permanent sort of trend using online feedback mechanisms? Who knows? You thought about the long range future?
I think that there is, because I think as well with traditional competitions in the flesh, I can see these online competitions happening, kind of moving forward. And why not? Like it's especially in the off season, it can give you something to kind of play towards. And maybe you're wanting to try out a new tune that you've learned. And so that's why I think this service is great as well. You might want to try out a new MSR, or you might want to try out that new PBROC that you've been working on for a couple of weeks. So I think why not? And in terms of real life, I haven't told that many people about this, but there was a judges seminar that CPA, we did a presentation at a couple of years ago. And I was joking with some of the senior judges about, like an X factor or a voice type of thing. And this is exactly what we're kind of talking about with this is you're getting feedback pretty much instantly. And yeah, there is times when you're afraid to go up to judges, or maybe just as a person, you're not comfortable going up to a judge and saying, can you give me feedback? Although I would say most judges are open to that, and they're ready for it because they've competed and they know what it's been like. But a couple of years ago, I joked with a few guys that, it's never going to happen at Inverness, but why couldn't there be a competition where we play and as soon as we're finished, the judges give us critique on the spot, and you're not going to know if you've won or lost, but you're at least going to walk away going, they liked it or they didn't like it. I would love to see something like that happen in a less formal type of competition, or CPA. We talked about doing it as almost like a master class and inviting members and having someone do like a workshop. But I would love to see that sort of thing happen in competition in real life. It's never going to happen at the big ones, which is fine. But why not for a little bit of fun? And it kind of goes well with this,
Well, it's interesting, the business world, is working all online and they're discovering new ways to do things. And I think the piping and drumming world, same thing. It's, we're discovering kind of silver linings around all this, the lockdown, and, who knows what can happen. But, thanks a lot for taking the time, and best of luck with it.
Thank you.
Sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. Cheers.
All the best.